Hello everyone, it's Turin here, and today guys I'm here with another Dawn of War 3 1v1 match. In this game I'm going to be playing the Space Marines and I'm actually going to be facing off against another Space Marine player, so I think this might be one of the first Space Marine mirror matches I've had on the channel, so hopefully you guys enjoy it, and let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions and elite doctrines. So for my elites I do have Kill Team Iron Maw, of course pretty much a staple in 1v1 competitive play, the Deathwatch presence being pretty much an auto pick. So the Deathwatch presence, essentially what it does is it firstly allows these guys to deploy anywhere on the map that you have vision. Secondly, it also allows your other elites to deploy there. So if you're in a really, pitched battle in enemy territory, let's say attacking their shield generator, and you don't have any, points nearby or a captured or a structure to teleport your elites in, you can then summon your other elites, so these Terminators or this Imperial Knight Paladin you could then summon on top of Kill Team Iron Maw. So very, very powerful doctrine. Secondly, I do have the Terminators here. These are the ranged nukers. They do a ton of ranged DPS. They also have a pretty good missile volley that you guys will get to see later in this game. And lastly, I do have the Imperial Knight Paladin. So you guys probably noticed a recurring theme with my build. With the Terminators, I have the Terminators present. So when these guys are in play, your Devastators, which are kind of the heavy range support, I guess, DPS type unit, they don't have to set up and break down. They can just start shooting right away, which is very, very powerful late game tool. Because one of the biggest drawbacks is they obviously are very slow in the first place, but secondly, when they do find a target, it takes quite some time to deploy. So very, very frustrating in that respect. But these guys help deal with that. Lastly, the Imperial Knight Paladin, the reason I brought him was for the Paladin's command, so shield wall. So Devastator Marines, and it's definitely going to be the tech route I'm going to be going here. They get a shield when they're stationary for a while. So if you're in a sustained fight or you want to lay an ambush for someone, you can sit there and get a pretty big shield on your Devastator Marines. I do have tireless, so my tactical Marines, when they're out of combat, they're very, very fast. I have pin, and pin, honestly, guys, I think is one of the more competitive things for Space Marines in 1v1. In any RTS, whether you're talking about Total War Warhammer with FG of the Git or any of those other snaring abilities, Nets of Amnatok, or just any RTS game. And you can see my opponent is also getting some early Devastators here, and he does kill my scout. Anything where you can pin down an enemy unit is incredibly powerful. So right now you can see I do get these tactical Marines, and I came around for a little bit of a flank. I do drop some tax on top of his guys here, so I disrupt them. They're having to move, and if they want to start shooting again, they essentially have to set up. But he also does have a second group of Devastators, so instead of getting early tax, he just got two groups of Devastators. Now I took some decent casualties here on these tactical Marines, but he also took some pretty massive casualties here on these Devastators, so a little bit of give and take there for both of us. So essentially, I also do have the improved listening post, which is going to make these a little bit more resilient. It takes a little bit longer to kill them. Quite a nice doctrine. But pin, you guys will see it's a serious playmaker. And for anyone that's trying to play Space Marines competitive in 1v1, give it a try. Let me know your thoughts. For my opponent, let's go ahead and take a look at his doctrines. He has a much more kind of it's weird. It's a bit of a hybrid in terms of early to late game. So Kill Team Iron Maw, and he also has Gabriel. So he has a 2 and a 4, whereas I have a 2 and a 6. So he's going to get to Gabriel first, unless I capture this point right here. If I capture this point in the middle and am able to reap a benefit from that in terms of elite point production, I could potentially get my Terminators around the same time he gets his Gabriel, which would be pretty backbreaking for him. Lastly, he does have the Imperial Knight Paladin, so he's doing a bit of a Devastator build as well, but not as all in. He doesn't have the doctrine that allows him to not have to set up. He doesn't have the pin, so my Devastators are going to be pretty high tier compared to his. He has the improved listening post and tip of the spear. So tip of the spear allows you to essentially reinforce here. So you can see these guys are sitting here reinforcing. It's a very good doctrine. And he also does have the Destructor Devastation. So when it deals damage, it also gains a temporary increase in weapon. Okay, so basically it makes it so the Devastators, I've only used that doctrine once or twice, but what it makes them do is the longer they fight, they get more range, more damage, etc., etc. I think damage, is it? Let's go ahead and take a look. So they get increased weapon range and attack speed, so not actually damage. Correction there. So right now I'm just kind of running around with my tacticals. I knew he was going Devastators because he's doing a very turtley build because his doctrines kind of gave away the fact that he wanted to get to tanks in the late game and try and win that way. So I'm just using my attack Marines right here, and I actually do send a bait, one of these bait servitors. So I run up here, try and bait his servitor, and then I use my speed to get over there and kill it. So right now we are both at our Kill Team Iron Maw. We have hit 2 elite points, so we both essentially have the ability to drop down Kill Team Iron Maw. And you can see he's using some scouts here. So scouts actually work pretty well with Devastators. Granted, I like tax more, but you see how these guys have a shield right now? That's from that Paladin doctrine. So if they sit there for a period of time, they get a shield. Very good for playing defensively and offensively, in my opinion, but still better defensively. He does have the shield point here, so he knew I was kind of scurrying around here. So he does set up his Devastators here, and they do kill one of my tactical Marines. A little bit unfortunate, but I didn't take huge casualties, and I'm able to secure this middle point here. I am building an elite point here. He also does summon his Kill Team Iron Maw up top. So what he did is he ran the scouts, and then since they have the Deathwatch presence, he's able to drop them anywhere. So he gets a nice little jump on me, and he did pull the Malleus tactics. So it looked like he was trying to snipe this out because the Malleus tactics do a bit more damage to these type of targets, if I'm not mistaken. Granted, it's still normal armor, so it's not going to get an armor-piercing benefit, really, but it hits pretty hard. He also set up some Devastators in the path here, and he's able to get a good little block, and he does have his scouts on the high ground. He throws a blind grenade, but I kind of had a feeling there was some funny business, so I did pull back there, and I will be re-engaging. I do summon my Kill Team Iron Maw right on top of his, and I have a huge advantage here because, guys, I have the fur tactics, or the flamethrowers. So you can see that his Kill Team Iron Maw is just getting absolutely roasted right now, just destroyed. And he's trying to snipe this shield generator, and had he gotten it, it could have been pretty worthwhile for him, but still, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. My Devastators here, unfortunately, do get jumped by some Assault Marines, so very well played to my opponent. You can see I'm trying to run back right here, and I just needed to get one of them away, because if that were the case and I get one away, I can then reinforce that whole group, which is going to be very strong. So I'm able to kind of fend off his Kill Team Iron Maw. He does run over here, but he does get killed by my listening post, so that was a really nice pick. I come down here, and I finished off one of his Devastator groups, which is a complete kill, so that means that group will not be coming back, guys. So very, very big loss for my opponent. A full 500 resources gone. He also does come out here and tries to jump me a little bit with some of these Assault Marines, but he does get roasted by the flame, and also these 2 tac squads, which got buffed quite a bit in the most recent patch. Well, their range DPS right now, it says 16, but it basically scales. Like, if you lose models in your group, the DPS reflection is going to be different. So if we look at a healthy group of tacs, these guys are 8 or 16. Yeah, so I'm trying to find an example for you guys, but they're all about the same health, unfortunately. So I do push down here again. I really wanted to pressure this, but he did have another group of Devastators there, which was pretty bad. He's able to get some free kills on me, and I do have my own Devastators coming, so I have one group coming here. I also have another group in the back setting up. I really wanted to, like, pressure him and try and force him off this point, because then, you know, that would allow me to secure the middle, get that elite point requisition generator going, and all that other good stuff. So unfortunately, my Kill Team Iron Maw is getting a little bit low, and I don't have the teleport homer, which allows them to teleport home and resummon. You can see in the back, I'm just kind of starting to spam Devastators because they're very, very good for, like, sieging. So you can see right here, I'm just kind of gunning these guys down, doing quite a bit of damage. He does have some Assault Marines coming in, so a pretty good counter pick to this type of play, but you can see that shield there does prevent the damage, which is quite nice. So he runs up here, he targets this group, and then I use pin. So you see how they're immobilized right now? It has that little, like, red icon over the top of them. I'm able to just gun them down. They can't jump this guy, and it's a very good doctrine. Unfortunately, I accidentally moved the Marine right here that did have them pinned, but I use another immobilize right now, and I just continue to gun these guys down. So he's about to go down, but it looks like he just barely wears off. I guess I lost vision or just kind of screwed up my micro there, but he is sitting in the high ground, and he's also does have drop pod play coming in and his own Devastators. So a little bit of missed micro for me, but it looks like he was just dropping his banner, which is totally fine. So right now I'm just trying to run away. He has some very tattered troops coming, but guys, I have a pretty healthy presence kind of healing up here. So I just got a little health back on these guys. Unfortunately, I couldn't reinforce his tac Marine, and I was just kind of a panic. I should have kept him back, but, you know, I sent him in just with the rest of my army, and, you know, the rest is history. So I do get this this Devastator, excuse me, this Assault Marine right here, and I am going to pin him down, so he takes quite a bit of damage. And that's a full group gone. So when you lose those guys, it's really bad because Assault Marines, they cost 500 requisition and 15 energy. So energy is a very precious resource early on for teching up to tier 2 and, you know, upgrading your infrastructure and things like that. So it's really important to keep that online. So let's go ahead and take a look at the income. I'm at 508 on requisition compared to his 561. So he actually has more. I've been investing a lot in, like, offense and trying to, like, just break him down. But guys, the big thing I have going for me is this elite point in the middle. I do have that. So I am going to get my, you know, Devastators, or excuse me, my Terminators pretty close to the time that he's potentially going to get to Gabriel Angelos. And the Terminators are much stronger than Gabe. So he does push over here with some Assault Marines. I do drop a group of Tactical Marines on them to kind of fend them off. And I decided to just send my Servitor in first to kind of absorb the initial fire. I also throw a Vortex Grenade in here. And you can see my opponent is coming in with some of his units here. I'm not sure if that's his elites. Yes, it is his Kill Team Iron Maw who's back online. So I just start gunning them down. You can see they're immobilized. So I use the pin ability on them. Did a lot of damage to them. Their shields are going down pretty quickly here. Granted, he does get that great flame, but I do drop my banner here, which is going to give these guys a shield. You can also see that my Kill Team Iron Maw is porting home with their teleport homer, so now they can be resummoned. So my guys are taking damage, doing a ton of damage, but I also do re-drop them right on top of his guys, which is going to be great, because killing elites is very, very powerful in this game. And he took a big chance by dropping, like, right in front of all my guys like that. But his Devastators in the back are doing quite well, but he is going to lose his Kill Team Iron Maw here. Very, you know, devastating loss for my opponent. You can see over here his Devastators are being driven back. I do have a bit of an initiative here. Granted, my Devastators in the back are also quite beat up. I'm going to be able to push in here. So again, he's playing a very turtley strategy. He's just trying to get to late game, trying to get to tank. So he does get a bunch of snipers. And I'm just pressing in here, trying to get as many kills as I can. And I do kill his full 2 Devastator squads, which is going to be really backbreaking. And also, these snipers are about to be compromised because this resource point, or the listening post on it, is about to go down. So I'm just continuing to kind of waste it just so I can press forward. And this is going to be bad for my opponent for sure. It's going to open up the whole middle of the map, which means I can then just roam freely here and here and, you know, pretty much attack anywhere, you know, I feel like it. So I'm able to kill this. He did also have a resource point on here, a generator, so I'm going to kill that, which will definitely bring us more, like, you know, close together in regards to our, you know, fiscal income. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm at 528 right now, and if we look at my opponent, he is now at 520. So I have slightly surpassed him. I'm sending back these Devastators to reinforce them. They're very tattered. I also do have some tax. And as soon as I seized the initiative there, I had been investing very aggressively in trying to, like, you know, take down his frontal points. Then I feel safe to start upgrading infrastructure. So you can see back here I'm upgrading, in the middle I'm upgrading, because I knew I destroyed a lot of his army there, and he's going to be kind of turtling and isn't really going to have the manpower to kind of chase me down. So right here, I'm using these Kill Team Iron Mod just to kind of secure the front point. Their teleport to Homer is still 1.5 minutes away, so I probably will have to heal them the old-fashioned way. But essentially, I just kind of come over here and I'm just healing up. So guys, we're going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit of posturing and just infrastructure development. So I'm doing a very infantry-heavy build, which honestly I prefer in a competitive sense, even in 2v2. So in the back, I'm starting to get an arsenal, which is going to allow me to get infantry upgrades. You can see my opponent continuing to use his scout snipers, just kind of turtling, very wisely using the shield generator, because he knew I wasn't getting assault marines or any, you know, tech that could get in there really. So he's able to really take advantage of that turtle position and just kind of sit here, and you can see he's setting up. So it's going to be tough to crack this for sure. Even though I have a much bigger army, still that sniper fire in conjunction with the listening post is going to be tough. But if I had realized that this thing wasn't finished, I think I would have come in quicker. So his worker in here does die, so this listening post is going to be offline. But he has Devastator set up everywhere, and they're gunning down my tax pretty bad. And the positioning was very poor on my Devastator. So you can see I lose those tax for pretty much for free. I should have pulled them up through here and then set them up and then return fire. So big mistake there, guys. Always remember when you're playing with this type of a build, and this is actually the build I play with most, so I should know that. Be very patient. Granted, we still did kill a listening post as well as a generator, if I'm not mistaken, so that was pretty good. And his army isn't mobile, so I'm going to be able to kind of, you know, get moving a little bit. But he does send a group of these assault marines in the back, and it looks like he is going to ninja one of my points. So very well played by my opponent, taking advantage of my very, very slow playstyle that I'm using right now, kind of my just grinding trench warfare playstyle, and he's able to use his mobility and really, you know, kind of reap that benefit. So he does kill that point back there, which is pretty bad for me. I do have a group of tax going, as well as some of my Devastators, and the guys are coming. You can see my Devastators here getting a very good jump on these guys, and I do have Kill Team Iron Mod that I can resummon now. So I did use the teleport Homer, and they're ready to party. So he does have a group of assault marines here, but he has been losing quite a bit of these guys, and they're not cheap, like I mentioned earlier, guys. So he's going to jump me here. So unfortunately, he does overshoot me a little bit. He went where I was originally standing. My Devastators here are online, so we're going to start gunning these guys down pretty horribly. I do immobilize them with pin, so they're not going to be able to get away. They're going to be another free kill, another full group gone to the slaughter. So still probably better for my opponent because he did kill my fully stocked point back here. I had every generator, and this is the one I'm always a little bit like lackadaisical about putting an elite point or requisition, not a requisition, I'm totally just blank right now, but the listening post on, because it's like in the far back corner, so I feel like it's safe in conjunction with my infrastructure. But my opponent goes really all in here. He summons Kill Team Iron Maw, he also summons another drop pod, so it looks like he was planning this to like counter push me. So he drops his own Devastators here, but unfortunately, guys, I dropped my Kill Team Iron Maw, I retaliated, I got the flamers, kind of the flamer jump on him, and you can see he's taking a lot of damage. And on the low ground, his Devastators are kind of just having a face-to-face shoot-off with my guys, and he does also dropping Gabriel Angelo. So he got his timing there, but if you look at my elite points, I'm only 6 seconds away from my Terminator. So right now I was a little bit stressed out. I knew Gabe was here and he was going to kind of be able to come and get my shield gen. So I just kind of fall back with some of these guys, just reset them up, and more guys, Big Daddy is coming. Well, the Big Daddies, it's multiple. So I drop a group of Devastators, and you guys see how they started shooting right away? That's because these guys were deployed. So now my guys are just going to start shooting in his face, and just look at the raw firepower just coming from these Terminators, just doing massive damage. Gabriel Angelo is just getting put down so hard, and I am casting pin. So boom, he's pinned. One of the strongest things in this game, like I mentioned before, is being able to kill elites, and it's a very big setback, especially when I have these very, very powerful elites on the battlefield. So Gabriel gets snared. Granted, he's going to have a little bit of kind of duration left on his life to move before when the pin wears off, but still, there was too much firepower. He wasn't able to do his front flip of doom and get away. And now my opponent's big investment up here in the top corner is not paying off, because he's been letting me sit on this point, you know, all game. So I'm going to be able to get my big daddies a little bit faster than he is. So unfortunately for him, his Kill Team Arma does get trapped in the corner and is just going to get massacred. So very, very tough stuff. On that same time, I don't think I've gotten any upgrades. Yes, I did. I actually got 1-1 upgrade. So that's pretty nice. I don't think my opponent has gotten any infantry upgrades himself. Is there any way to actually check on the tooltip? I don't think so. Maybe I could probably compare our units like side by side. But right now I am building a machine cult just to give me some range, some, you know, dreadnoughts to give me a little bit of front line presence. Because with this build, it's a very, you know, trenchy kind of, you know, push build. But you need some front liners, but you don't really need them till tier 2. So in my opinion, I then just get dreadnoughts. You can also see I am loading up a Deathstorm. So Deathstorms are pretty good for like, when you're in an advantageous situation, Deathstorms are very good. Because like if they're turtling back here with a bunch of like, you know, las cannons or Devastators or snipers, you can drop the Deathstorm right on top of them and it pretty much massacres all of them. So right now I do have some las cannons. I'm starting to kind of segue into tier 2. You can also see that my Terminators are coming in here. He does have these assault marines up on the high ground, but he definitely does not want to come in here, but I guess he does. I was about to say, I don't think he does, but I don't remember. But he comes in there and they just get absolutely gunned down, just massacred by these Terminators. He is able to squeak away a little bit, but these guys are going to get up there and just aren't going to have any of their funny business. So very rough situation for my opponent. these guys have pretty substantial DPS. Let's go ahead and take a look. So 94 armor-piercing melee DPS and 40 range DPS at a very fast fire rate. So I do kill a shield gen right here. You can see I do go up to 800 resources and 2 elite points. So if we look at my opponent, he's at 1 elite point, and he only has Gabriel. So I'm super far ahead in terms of elite points, and also as far as requisition at this point and everything, I'm probably a little bit far ahead. One big mistake I made was not reclaiming my top point. You can see my opponent actually is building a generator up here, which I would do the exact same thing. So right now I'm just kind of methodically marching around the map, trying to take out all of his points. You can see my las cannons are just able to massacre that shield. So even though he's turtling here, I'm able to kind of get in there and do enough damage to really, drive it home. So these guys are great for sieging. They also have that very good missile attack. So I do drop my chapter banner here, which is going to be quite strong. So the Deathstorm is also ready, and I do believe I do use my missile rockets here in a moment. I can't quite remember, but regardless, I'm really just trying to finish that shield gen, because if so, I'm just going to have such a massive advantage in terms of elite points. I'm going to get to my paladin much quicker than him, and things are just going to be looking very uphill. So though I did take a lot of casualties there from tax, I figured with my elites I could get away with it for sure. So just shooting in here, I did resummon my kill team Iron Maw. So the teleport homer is so good, guys, because now I can resummon them up here, or, forward in the back by his troops if I wanted to. And you can see I actually do use the teleports. These guys can teleport in locations that they can't even see. So also you can see that the missile battery's going on over here, and it's just going to wreck these guys, doing a ton of damage. And they had shields too, so the shields were the only reason they're still alive. Otherwise it would have one-shotted them. So I do kill his last cannons and pretty much all of his troops. Kill team Iron Maw does also come up here with the teleport homer, and I believe I do summon the Malleus tactics again, because he still is getting a lot of infantry, so I figured that was worth it. But still, at this point in the game, guys, just in hindsight, I probably would recommend doing the alternative and getting the Malleus tactics or the rocket launcher at this point. So let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. We just killed that point, and right now, instead of being really greedy and kind of like just kept pushing in right here, I just wanted to like kind of sweep around and kill his different points. I do have a Dreadnought in the back who's online, and Dreadnoughts are very good for siege breaking as well. They can take some heavy fire and definitely do a very good job of doing that. So I wanted to go home and heal instead of just being bloodthirsty. He is, again, continuing to turtle, probably hoping he can get to late game and maybe get a few tanks out and turn the tide. But with my forces and all these las cannons I have now, it's going to be very difficult. I do also summon my Dreadnought up here, who's going to come steal this point. My opponent, this was a very bold move, Cotton. I'm not sure how it's going to work out for him, but he does come back here, and my Dreadnought's able to just slam those guys. Dreadnoughts are so hard to kill, but he does have the Malleus tactics here, so he does have the rocket launcher, and he's doing good damage. Probably just trying to bait my army back, because my army's very slow. So in doing this, I'm not attacking him, and I'm not attacking this, so he's getting resources for longer. But I still don't think it was worth the 2 elite points, but at this point in the game, you might as well try bold things. So I come in here, you can see I set up some guys on the low ground. My opponent does drop a Deathstorm, so very well played in kind of zoning those guys out, but I just have this massive firing squad that's just gunning down Gabriel Angelos, just no mercy. His kill team Iron Maw is also trapped. I mean, he's going to get in there and do a little bit of damage, but my guys are all in pretty good health. My Terminators are here, they're ready to party, so definitely not looking good for the Chapter Master here. So he's trying to scurry away. I do have some las cannons kind of down here in position, and it looks like I do kill team Iron Maw as well. So guys, unfortunately I kept like pathing troops through the stupid Deathstorm, but he's able to get in there and do some decent damage with that. So pretty well played in that respect. So let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit more, because right now it's just kind of cleaning up the top, just trying to get my troops together for the final push. So we'll definitely make sure to show you guys that final showdown. So right now, just reinforcing here, just making sure everything's tip-top shape, because guys, even though I'm so far ahead, you could still come back. Like if he wipes my army on an attack, things I've come back from games like this. Granted, the opponent has to make pretty substantial blunders when it's at this point, because the army supply right now is 126 to 75, which isn't terrible, I suppose. So I'm pushing in here. His turret is going to shoot in, do a little bit of damage, but I figured I had so much that it didn't really matter. So I send in the Dreadnought first. I am going to drop my Chapter Banner, which is going to give me a pretty nice shield here. You can also see I am returning fire, and he does use that Whirlwind to pretty good effect. Get some great DPS here, and you can see he's hitting a lot of my guys. But guys, I do drop a Deathstorm in the back, which is going to gun down a lot of his backline troops pretty effectively. You can see they're all being forced to run. My Dreadnought does get a very nice slam, which almost, actually, geez, that almost like one-shot that Whirlwind. You can just see that thing on fire. And this guy is just going around using his flamer and just roasting these guys, and his turret is dead at that point. So guys, that is pretty much GG. Well played to my opponent. We're on the core. I also do get the big Paladin. This is just like the biggest blue balling for you guys ever. I get this like awesome Paladin, and you guys just don't even get to see it in action. But it was still a great game. Space Marine Mirror is always fun. Again, I was able to get around his turtle and really just kind of push it home using the Devastator tactics and the pin and all those other really good abilities. So again, very well played to my opponent. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that Dawn of War 3 game. It's definitely tough that the population for this game is dropping. I feel like it will eventually be at a place where it's going to, maybe make a little bit of a comeback. Still, a launch like that is very hard to come back from when you have that much disappointment. But, as they add other races, hopefully like Necrons and Chaos, it'll start pulling some more players in. It took me about like 10 or 15 minutes just to get that 1v1 game. So That's one of the main reasons I don't play as much Dawn of War 3 on the channel, is because I don't want to sit there for like 20 minutes just waiting for a single game that may or may not be good. Like, it might just be a stomping either one way or the other. It might not be fun to watch, so it's tough stuff. But guys, thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that Dawn of War 3 content, and guys, I got more stuff coming soon.